Welcome to medical microbiology classes. So today we are going to see the definition of microbiology that followed by the classification of microbiology. So one of the classification of microbes, it is the bacteria. So today we are going to study about the morphology of the bacteria and bacterial anatomy and end up with the top 3 questions. So we'll study one by one. Definitions. Study of microbe or microorganism which are very minute and unable to see with the naked eye that causes disease in the human. So usually the microns are less than 2 micron. So if you are able to see, our naked eye can see up to approximately up to 200 micron. The microscope can able to see up to 300 nanometer. That is simple microscope. If you take the electron microscope, can able to see 0.1 nanometer. So the microbes means a simple understanding is that it is having less than 2 micron. So father of microbiology we are calling as a Louis Pasteur, and father of bacteriology we are calling as a Robert Koch, because these questions always will come to the MCQ questions in the PG NEET or some examinations. So now we are going to see that there are so many branches of microbiology, but we are concentrating only to the medical microbiology. So medical microbiology, so these are microbes, that microbes producing the disease. So if the microbes is producing the disease, there is some causes should be there, that we'll see later. And if the disease which affect the human, and the human also have multiple microbes. Okay, so if the microbes have produced the disease, so should fulfill some theory. So that theory we are calling as a Koch postulate. And the disease, it produces the disease in the human body, so that we are calling as a etiology. And the human having so many microbes in their genital cord or urinary tract everywhere, so that we are calling as a normal microbial flora. So that we'll study one by one. So let us study about the Koch postulate. So Koch postulate explain about the microbe should produce the disease means should fulfill the some condition. So that condition we are going to study under the category of the Koch postulate. So Koch postulate, so there are 4 points. So we'll study number 1, the microorganism must be found in the deceased person. So that is the first one. So if a person suffering from any disease, suppose the person suffering from the typhoid disease, there should be responsible for typhoid disease salmonella. So that microorganism must be found in the deceased person. That is the first criteria. The second criteria, the microorganism must be isolated and able to grow in the pure culture. Suppose that the deceased person, we can take the blood from the deceased person, and thus microorganism can be able to isolate and able to grow in the pure culture. So that is in the second criteria. And third criteria, that it should be produce the same disease in the susceptible healthy animals. So that from the pure culture will take the microorganism, and if you inoculate into the healthy tissue or healthy animals, so the animal also should produce the same disease and signs and symptoms what we have studied into the human. So that is the third one. And fourth one, the microorganism can able to explain from the experimental animal. So the microorganism, same microorganism can able to re-isolate from the experimental animal. So that is known as the Koch postulate. So any microbe able to fulfill this 4 criteria, that we are calling as the microbes. So anything can able to achieve this 4 points, that we are calling as the microbes. But some exceptions, this is very important for the MCQs or PG NEET or so many other things. Mycobacterium leprae and Neisseria gonorrhoeae and Treponema palladium, that is syphilis producing bacteria. So this is the exception, that these exceptions always we have to remember. Okay, so all the microbes will follow the Koch postulate except these 3 microbes. Okay, so now we'll study the branches of microbiology. The bacteriology helps to know about the study of the bacteria. The virology helps to know about the study of the virus, and parasitology is known as the study of the parasite. and protozoology is known as the study of protozoa, and study of elements is known as the elementhiology, and study of fungi we are known as the mycology. So today we are going to concentrate about bacteriology. So this portion, parasite, element, this portion already we have completed. So now we are going to start about the bacteriology. So let us see about the bacteriology. So we will study about the definition of bacteriology. Definition of bacteria. The bacteria are prokaryotic microorganism capable of performing all essential processes of the life. So what is meant by prokaryotic? Pro means there is a word, divide the word pro and karyolytic. Pro means before and karyo means nucleus. So it is the bacteria does not containing the nucleus, but nuclear essentials will be there, but nucleuses are absent, and capable of performing all essential processes of the life. And it is the unicellular. Unicellular means a single cell. So unicellular, free living organism without cytoplasmic organelles. So we have our cells having the so many endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, so many things. So that everything is absent in case of bacteria. So there are 3 points: prokaryotic microcytic microorganism, unicellular without cytoplasmic organelles, it containing circular DNA, where the human is containing the linear DNA, don't containing chlorophyll. So the chlorophyll means it's in the plant containing the chlorophyll. That is the reason all the plants looks green. But the bacteria does not having the chlorophyll. So that is the reason bacteria are colorless. Rigid cell wall containing muramic acid. This is very important for MCQs. And it reproduction by the binary fusions. So this is the 6th point, tells about if any organism, any microorganism can fulfill this 6th point, we are calling as the bacteria. So this is we are calling as the definition of the bacteria. So we'll study about the simple understanding about what is the difference between bacteria, virus, parasite and fungus. If you study the size, 2 micron to 8 micron in case of bacteria, and 0.2 micron to 1 micron in case of virus, and 10 to 30, sometimes it is a 50 in case of parasite, and 2 to 7 micron in case of fungi. So from here you can identify out of all, the virus is the smallest one. Okay, the shape. The bacteria have definite shape, even the parasite have definite shape, and even the fungus have definite shape. But here things to remember, the virus don't have definite shape. The nucleus, the bacteria have prokaryotic nucleus, and parasite and fungus have eukaryotic nucleus. Nucleic acid, the bacteria have DNA and RNA, but in case of virus it have either DNA or RNA, and parasite have DNA and RNA, even the fungus also have DNA and RNA. The mitochondria is absent in the bacteria and virus, where there is present in case of parasite and fungus. Ribosome is 70 years in case of bacteria, and virus the ribosomes are absent, and 80 years in case of parasite and fungus. And the last point, reproduction. In bacteria, reproduction by the binary fusions, and viruses there is no reproduction mechanism, and parasite reproduction by the mitosis, and fungus reproductions through the budding. So this is a simple basic understanding about the difference between the bacteria, virus and fungus. Here things to remember, the smallest shape out of all is the virus, and the virus have no definite shape, and the nucleic acids, here it is, bacteria have DNA and RNA, ribosome is 70 years, and reproduction is the binary fusions. Okay. So now here we have to write very important thing we have to remember about the difference between bacteria and virus. Is there is any difference? Because these questions always will come into the exam as well as into the MCQs. So here I am giving the simple point. The bacteria present only into the living organism, where there is a virus presenting into the living as well as into the non-living microorganism. And size of the bacteria, as we have seen, we are measuring under the micron, but in case of virus it is a millimicron. As we remember, the viruses are smallest than the bacteria. Genital material, it containing only DNA, but in case of virus it having either DNA or RNA. DNA is in the circular form in case of bacteria and linear form in case of virus. Nature, it is autotrophs or heterotrophs. That means it synthesis their needs their own, but the virus always obligate, always depend upon the host. Function, most of the bacteria, 95% of the bacteria are commensals. That means it helps to the or good bacteria, or we are calling as a symbiosis. But most of the viruses are harmful. So this is a simple understanding about the difference between bacteria and a virus. So now we'll study about the classification of the bacteria. So classification of the bacteria, we divided into the 5 headings. So under the basis of shape, basis of staining, basis of oxygen requirement, basis of temperature, and the last one basis of the pH. So we'll study one by one with a simple understanding. So basis of the shape, the bacteria, based on the shape we are divided into the first one, it is a cocci. The cocci means it is the berry or spherical or oval shape. You can see, so all the bacteria are into the round shape, or it is a, and another word I used to tell to the student, it is a zero, looks like a zero. And bacilli, it is a shape is looks like a rod. So in other word, it is looks like a 1. So these are bacilli, cocci and bacilli. And the next one is a vibrio. It is a comma shape or curved rod. It is a comma shape. And the next one, it is the spirella. It is a ridged spiral forms. So it is looks like a ridged spiral forms. And spirochetes means fluxus spiral forms. It is able to flux. Tripinema palladium is a best examples of spirochetes. And the last one, it is the actinomyces. Actinomyces means it's a branching filaments, like it is a different branch, it having the different branch, so branching filaments. So this is the basis of the shape. The bacteria can be divided into the 6 types. And basis of the staining, number 1 is a gram positive bacteria. That will study what is gram positive bacteria under the cell wall chapter will study. And the gram positive bacteria looks blue or violet color. So it is looks blue or violet color. We are calling any microbes which looks blue color, we are calling as a gram positive bacteria. Any microbes it looks red or pink color, we are calling as a gram negative bacteria. Why color changes, everything will study under the cell wall. Okay. Basis of the oxygen requirement, the bacteria are divided into 2 types. Aerobic bacteria, that means in order to grow the oxygen is required. So anaerobic bacteria means the bacteria does not require oxygen. Example is a Clostridium tetani. Okay, but there is another class, it is a facultative aerobic or otherwise known as the anaerobic bacteria or facultative anaerobic. So it is either oxygen required or oxygen is not required. So why we are talking here, most of our pathogenetic microorganism comes under this group, facultative aerobic or facultative anaerobic. And basis of the temperature, the bacteria are divided into 3. Number 1 is psychrophiles, mesophiles and thermophiles. So psychrophiles means it lives into the less than 20 degrees Celsius, and mesophils means it lives into the 20 to 40 degree Celsius, and thermophiles means it lives in more than 41 degree Celsius. But here things to remember, most of our pathogenic microorganism to the human are mostly mesophilic. This is very important to remember. And according to the basis of the pH, again divided into the 3 types. Number 1 is acidophiles, neutrophiles and algalophiles. Acidophiles means the pH is less than 2, and neutrophiles means the pH is more than 2.1 and less than 8, and algalophiles means more than 8.1 pH. The typical example is Vibrio cholerae comes under the algalophiles, and most of the pathogenic microorganism which affect to the which produce the disease to the humans are the mostly neutrophiles. Now we'll study about the morphology. So morphology of the bacteria. So if you see the length of the bacteria, it is 2 micron to approximately 2 micron to 8 micron, and width of the bacteria are 0.2 micron to 2 microns. That is the size of the bacteria. Now we'll study arrangement of the bacteria. Arrangement of the cocci. So most of the cocci, we know what is cocci. Cocci means it is the round shape. And cocci, if the cocci are arranged into the double, that means 2 cocci arranged together, it is known as the diplococci. Pneumococcus is the examples of diplococci. And cluster shape means many cocci arranging like a grape or arranging like a group or cluster. The staphylococcus is the examples of this type. So this type of arrangement we are calling as a staphylo. Staphylo means it is a bunch of grape or cluster shape. Another one is some of the cocci arranged into the chain. So that type of bacteria is known as the strepto. The typical example is the streptococci. It is arranging into the chain shape. Next one, some of the cocci arranging like a four bacteria arranging together. So that we are known as the tetrads. And some of other variety, some of the bacteria arranged into the 8 or 16 cocci arranged together. So this type is known as the Sarcinae. So this is the arrangement of the cocci. Now we'll study about the arrangement of the bacilli. Monobacilli means the bacilli. Bacilli means it is a rod shape. That is a, I told you, it looks like a 1. So arranging into the single bacilli, arranging into the arranged. So that is a monobacillus. And diplobacilli means the two bacilli arranging together. So that is a diplobacilli. Streptobacilli means, as I be told, strepto means it is a word meaning it is a chain. So the bacilli arranging into the chain we are calling as a streptobacilli. Now some of the other arrangement as we studied, the spirallae arranging into the, it is a rigid spiral form, and spirochetes means it is a flexible spiral form, and actinomyces means it is the filamented bacteria. So these are all the other type of the arrangements of the bacteria. So now we'll study very important for the exam as well as into the most of the MCQ questions comes from this part. This is known as the bacterial anatomy. So the bacterial anatomy, for our better understanding, we divided into the 3 parts. Number 1 is the outermost layer, number 2 is the inner layer, third one it is the additional structure. So under the outermost layer, we are going to study about the slime layer, capsule and cell wall. And inner layer, we are going to study cytoplasm and cytoplasmic inclusion. And additional layer, we are going to study about the flagella, fimbriae and spore. For exam point of view, the capsules and flagella, fimbriae and spore, everything is important. So now we'll study one by one. So this is the bacteria. Now here I am just mentioning the parts of the bacteria, then we'll study one by one in detail. Okay, so this is the outermost layer. So you can see here it is the brown color. So this is the slime layer. So next one, this is the blue color. This is the blue one. So this one I am mentioning, this one. So the blue one, it is known as the capsule, and the yellow one, it is the this one. This is the one. Yellow one, we are known as the cell wall, and there is the green one, that is known as the plasma membrane, and inside the green, that is the cytoplasm, and the cytoplasm containing ribosome and circular DNA. We can see the circular shape, and you can see the plasmid, and the very important thing, this is the flagella, and this portions, this one it is known as the, this portion it is known as the fimbriae. So now this is the parts of the bacteria. Now we'll study one by one. Protein or gelatinous or glycocalyx layer which surround the bacterial wall. So simple understanding, if some of the protein layer which surrounded the bacterial cells, so that coating is unorganized and loosely attached, it is loosely attached to the cell wall, it is known as the slime layer. And in another word, the protein coat are organized and firmly attached to the cell wall, it is known as the capsules. So here we can understand, so here this portion, this is the capsule and this is a slime layer. You can see it is unorganized. You can see only here it is the slime layer is present, and where there is a down part, the slime layer is absent. So it is unorganized and loosely attached to the cell wall. So this is known as the slime layer. And if you other hand, if you see the capsule, it is uniformly arranged into the surrounded the bacterial cell wall and organized and firmly attached, it is known as the capsules. Examples of slime layer is bacteria having slime layer is Streptococcus pneumoniae, and one of the examples of the bacteria having the capsule. There are so many examples, but here I am mentioning only one. It is a Klebsiella. So again I am mentioning glycocalyx layer are unorganized and loosely attached to the cell wall. It present into only to the some part of the bacterial cell. So that is known as a slime layer. Streptococcus pneumoniae is the examples of slime layer. And capsule. This is the capsule, which is the yellow color capsule. So this is a very important to study for the exam. So it is a thick gelatinous layer formed by the secretion from the cell wall, which situated outside the cell wall. So here things to remember here, it is which structure secreting this capsule is the cell wall is the secreting the capsule, and where it is present, which surrounded the cell wall. So this is the yellow color is the cell wall, and which is surrounded the capsule, you can see it surrounded the yellow color. So that is the reason which is situated outside the cell wall, and who's secreting this capsule, this layer, protein layer, is the cell wall. So here it is very important. And again, very important things to remember, all capsulated bacteria are mostly non-motile. Some exception will be there, but the common rule is most of the capsulated bacteria are non-motile. And composition of the capsule, 98% is the water and 2% is the solid. So what and all the substance is a solid is the polysaccharide, polypeptide, lipoprotein and hyaluronic acid. This is very important. And function, it prevents the phagocytosis. You know what is meant by phagocytosis, we studied into the inflammation chapter, and prevent the drying or desiccation. So that is the greatest function of this capsule. And how to demonstrate this capsule is the India ink. There is a clear halo around the bacteria. Suppose this is the bacteria, you can see there is a surrounded the bacterial cell wall, you can see the clear halo surrounded the bacteria. So that is a Indian ink preparation. Then capsular swelling reaction, that is another reason as the Coulomb reaction. That means this is the bacteria. So after the staining, the bacteria will be getting the capsule will get swelling. So that swelling, it is known as the capsular swelling reaction. It is a Coulomb reactions. So examples of the bacteria having the capsule is the Klebsiella pneumoniae, Pneumococcus, Pseudomonas, and last one it is a Salmonella. So some of the bacteria, these 4 bacteria having the capsules. Now very important about the bacterial structure is the cell wall, because the cell wall only dividing the bacteria into gram positive bacteria and gram negative bacteria. So we have to remember, we have to study properly about the cell wall. So what is cell wall? It is a thick rigid cell structure which maintain the overall shape of the bacteria. You can see here the yellow one, which I am mentioning is the yellow one, it is the cell wall. It is a thick rigid cell structure, and it containing 20 to 30% of the dry weight of the cells. Okay, type of the cell wall have gram positive cell wall and gram negative cell wall. And function of the cell wall, it protects the cell against the osmotic shock and its physical damage. That means a simple understanding, it maintains the shape of the bacteria. And demonstration, it is a gram staining, which already theory portion we have studied, practical portion we have studied, the gram staining. Okay. So here I am simply the diagrammatic representation, I will explaining about the gram positive and gram negative. See, you can see here, this layer is known as the plasma membrane, and the central layer, this layer is known as the periplasmic spaces, followed by there are multiple layer of peptidoglycan. You can see there is a multiple 1, 2, 3, 4 layer of the peptidoglycan will be present, and some of the other structure we are present. This structure is known as the thiocolic acid, and another one is the lipothiocholic acid. So that's all about the gram positive structure of the cell wall. So otherwise it is known as the very simple structure. It is a simple. It's a simple structure, consists of plasma membrane and peptidoglycan layer, and it is the thiocolic acid. Okay. In other hand, gram negative bacteria also have the layer plasma membrane, periplasmic spaces, and here things to remember, here the peptidoglycans are only one layer. This is only one layer of the peptidoglycan, and the extra structure here, it is the outer membrane. This is the outer membrane which is not present into the gram positive bacteria, where it is present into the gram negative bacteria. And other structure is known as the lipopolysaccharide. So shortly we are calling as the LPS. So this is the additional structure the gram negative bacteria have. Okay, simple understanding. The gram negative bacteria have, gram positive bacteria have plasma membrane, periplasmic spaces, and peptidoglycan. We are calling as a thick. Why? Because it is a consisting more than 2 layer of the peptidoglycan. So we are calling as a thick layer and having the thiocolic acid. In other hand, gram negative bacteria also have plasma membrane, periplasmic spaces, and peptidoglycan. Here having only the single layer. So we are calling as a thin layer, and it having outer membrane and lipopolysaccharide. This outer membrane lipopolysaccharide is absent in case of gram positive bacteria. So that is responsible for most of the our diseases. Okay. So this is a simple understanding about the gram positive and gram negative cell wall. So we'll study the simple differentiation between gram positive and gram negative cell wall. As we studied, the cell walls are simple. How it is simple I already explained, and complex it is a gram negative cell wall, and it is a thick, it is 20 to 80 nanometer, but where there is in the gram negative cell wall is a 2 to 7 nanometer. And gram stain, it looks violet color in case of gram positive, it looks pink or red color in case of gram negative. And most of the gram positive bacteria are non-motile, and most of the gram negative bacteria are motile. And peptidoglycan, as we have seen, 60 to 90% the gram positive bacteria have, and only 5 to 10% the gram negative bacteria has. And thiocolic acid is present in case of gram positive bacteria, and lipids are more in case of gram negative bacteria. And outer membrane, as we studied, it is present only in gram negative bacteria, and reproduction in gram positive bacteria by the binary fission, and gram negative bacteria by binary fission, as well as into the budding. And antibiotics are more sensitive in case of gram positive, and gram negative, most of the bacteria, gram negative bacteria are antibiotic resistant. And some of the examples of Staphylococcus aureus, Corynebacterium diphtheria is the examples of gram positive bacteria, and Salmonella typhi and Vibrio cholerae is examples of gram negative bacteria. So this differentiation is very important for the exams. So now we'll study about the plasma membrane. So plasma membrane, which is the green color here. So nothing to discuss much about the plasma membrane. Is a thin layer 5 to 9 nanometer lining between the cell wall and cytoplasm. So you can see this is a yellow color is the cell wall, and this is the inside is the cytoplasm. So it is present inside the in between the cell wall and cytoplasm, and it is having the thin layer 5 to 9 nanometer. And now comes to the cytoplasm. So cytoplasm is, here things to remember: absence in endoplasmic reticulum and mitochondria, and it containing ribosome and plasmids, and absence of protocytoplasmic streaming. That means the bacteria where the human cell having the presence of protoplasmic streaming, where there is a bacterial cell having absence of protoplasmic streaming. Okay, ribosome, it is the prokaryotic ribosome. As we know, prokaryotic ribosome is a 70S, subdivision is a 50S and 30S. And important structure is the plasmid. So plasmid is a very simple understanding, extra chromosomal features of the DNA in the cytoplasm. Usually all the DNA structure usually present inside the nucleus. The bacteria does not containing the nucleus. So some of the extra chromosomal pieces which is present into the cytoplasm, that pieces we are known as the plasmids. So now nucleoids. So nucleoid, it does not containing the nucleus, so we are calling as a nucleoid. It containing circular chromosome. So in other words, single coiled DNA. It is a single coiled DNA. So like it is a circular single chromosome. And now very important structure is the flagella. So what is flagella? It is a long helical thread-like structure which made up of flagellin for locomotion. So here things to remember, here it is the, you can see it here, it is a long structure, helical thread-like structure made up of the flagellin. Another one is, it is the function is for motion, locomotion, movement. the 3 to 20 micron in length and 10 to 20 nanometer in the width. So now we'll study the flagella in detail. It's a very important things for the exam. So it is a long, thick filamentous structure originated from the cytoplasmic membrane through the bacterial cell wall. So type of the flagella: monotrichous, amphitrichous, cephalotrichous, lophotrichous and peritrichous. I will explain one by one later. Now we will come to the part of the flagella. It have three part: filaments, hook and basal body. And how to demonstrate the bacteria, how to demonstrate this movement of the bacteria by the hanging drop preparation. In the practical class we will explain. Okay, now I will tell about the type of the flagella. So one is atraceous. Atraceous means there is a no flagella, the bacteria does not containing the flagella. And monotrichous means the bacteria containing the single flagella in one end. And amphitrichous means the bacteria containing flagella on either pole of the edges, like here and here. So that is known as the amphi. And cephalo means the bacteria having more flagella in one end. In one end, it is known as the cephalotrichous. And lophotrichous means the bacteria containing multiple flagellae on either edges, on either pole, it having the multiple flagella. It is known as the lophotrichous. And the last one, it is the peritrichous. Peritrichous means the whole bacteria containing about the flagella. So this is the flagella. So this is known as the peritrichous. So this is the type of the flagella. So some example: Staphylococcus is the one of the examples of atraceous, and Vibrio cholerae is one of the examples of monotrichous, and Spirillum is one of the examples of amphi, and Pseudomonas is the examples of cephalotrichous, and Bratinola basiliform, it is examples of lophotrichous, and Salmonella is the greatest examples of peritrichous. So this is the type of the flagella. It is very important. So here most of the MCQ questions in the future, they are going to come from this end. And now parts of the flagella, as we studied three parts. So number one, this is the basal part, and number two is the hook, and number three is the filament. This is the three parts of the flagella. So number one is the basal body, hook and filament. So basal body, for our understanding, it made up of the 4 ring, MSPL ring. Okay, this MS ring having the plasma membrane, and it present inside the plasma membrane, and P and L present into the outer membrane. As we know, the outer membrane is present only into the gram-negative bacteria. So the P and L ring of the flagella present only into the gram-negative bacteria. That is very important for the future classes. So now we'll go for the type of locomotion. So darting movement, it's a Vibrio cholerae. So it is darting movement. Gliding movement, it is a Mycoplasma. And swarming movement, Clostridium tetani. And switching movement, Pseudomonas. And corkscrew, it is known as a spirochetes. So most of the MCQ questions, it is from this end. And tumbling movement is the Listeria. So most of the movement of the bacteria we have to remember for the future classes. Okay, now we are going to study about the fimbriae. So it is a short, where there is a flagella, this is the flagella, it is a long, where there is a fimbriae, it is a short, and it is a straight. You can see in this picture, you can see everything is a straight structure. So short straight structure, it is a hair-like filament structure, and mostly found in the gram-negative bacteria. And how to demonstrate? Hemoagglutination test helps to identify the fimbriae. Okay, now we'll study about the difference between flagella and fimbriae. This is one of the very famous short note in the exam. So difference between flagella and fimbriae. As we studied, the flagella means long, thick filamentous structure, where the fimbriae is a short, thin filamentous structure. But originating place is same, both from the cytoplasmic membrane. And shape is a spiral and curve, and here it is a straight. So here another differentiation. And size of the flagella is the long, and size of the fimbriae is the short, and number of the flagella is the 1 to 15, and fimbriae is the 150 to 300. and function is for locomotion, and here it is a function is the additions or attachments and transfer of the genetic materials. And most of the flagellas, the function of the flagella is the motile, and here the fimbria is present in the non-motile bacteria also. And some of the type we have already studied: monotrichous, amphitrichous, lophotrichous and peritrichous. Some of the type of fimbria is the common pillae and sex or F pillae and Colchin pillae. So the pillae otherwise known as the fimbriae. So this is the structure. So this is the difference between flagella and the fimbriae. Very important for the exam. Okay, now we are studying about the end portion of the bacterial structure. It is known as the spore. So what is spore? It is a spherical or oval sheet-like body appear into the few bacterial cells during the unfavorable conditions like starvation and desiccation to resist the bacteria. Okay, present only into the gram-positive bacteria, and where there is, if you can see, the fimbria present only into the gram-negative bacteria. So this is the way I am remembering. Okay, the spores are destroyed by autoclaving by 120 degrees Celsius by 15 minutes. The next class I will explain about autoclaving. Spores viable for the month or year. Okay, now we'll study about the part of the spore. There are four parts of the spore. One is the outer layer, it is known as the exosporium, and the next layer is spore coat, then cortex, the last one it is the core, and the inside the core, and here you can see the inner spore membrane, and this is known as the outer spore membrane. But here things to remember, only the four parts: exosporium, spore coat, cortex and core, and the bacteria are present inside the core. Okay, let me explain how the spore forms. In normal condition, normal condition means adequate nutrition, the bacteria with the help of binary fission, it's dividing by one, that is a binary fission. But in case of abnormal condition, that is a inadequate nutrition, what happened? The bacteria, inside the bacteria having the DNA, that is a circular DNA, become DNA condensation. So that will become, you can see it here, difference between here, the DNA condensation. So we are calling as the mother cell. So this mother cells, inside the mother cells, formation of the four spore, then formation of the layer will forms, the layer which we have studied, the four layer of the spore will forms here. Afterwards, the end of the things, the outer layer of the cell structure will be gone off. So the bacteria will be present inside and the four layer will be formed. So in unfavorable condition, the formation of the spore. Why we are studying? Because it is very difficult to remove or difficult to eliminate the spore related bacteria. Okay, this is the formulation of the spore. The examples of the spore bacteria is the Bacillus group, Clostridium group and Thermophilic actinomyces. Okay, so that's the, here what we learned today is human eye can able to see up to 200 micron. Bacteria are prokaryotic, unicellular, free living, single microorganism, and cell wall are the target for medicinal actions, and the flagella for the locomotion, and the fimbria for the addition. So that's the end of my class today. So we'll go for the top 3 questions. Very important, because if you these 3 questions able to answer, it helps to achieve into the knowledge of the bacteriology. So number 1, the most of the antibiotic medicines target which part of the anatomical structure of the microbes? We know the antibiotic medicines is a good medicine for the bacteriology, killing of the bacteria. But the question here, most of the antibiotic medicine target which part of the anatomical structure? And second question, what is meant by probiotic bacteria? Very important to know about the probiotic bacteria. And the third one, endotoxin present which part of the bacterial cell wall? So these are the 3 questions. So post your 3 questions into the YouTube comments box. So I will put after the 1 week. So thanks for all. So this is about the simple bacterial structure of the bacteriology. So next class I will go for the sterilization and disinfectant. Thank you one and all.